Welcome dear students. In the last episode, we learned about the life of cold region peoples. In this episode, we will concentrate on the struggle of people who resides in mountain regions. Life for mountain people as a rule has always been a challenge. For this reason, it might appear that if given a choice, humans would perhaps tap the wealth of mountains such as their minerals, forest, their possibilities for tourism, etc., but they will not agree to live there permanently. However, human association with the mountains is almost as old as our civilization. The terms of life are usually much harder for humans at high altitudes and are controlled by three important factors: the terrain, the climate and the isolation from the rest of mankind. Yet, despite of all this, higher elevations in the tropics may be the best habitat for humans in these areas. They are free from malaria, sleeping sickness and other diseases of the hot lowlands. In many highlands areas near the equator, there is no such things as changes of seasons as most of us are used to. In these areas, the climate is springtime all year and fields yield several crops annually. In fact, it is this type of environment in the Bolivian and Peruvian Andes that led to the only great civilization to be found at a high altitudes. So, in this section, we will take a look into how people struggle in the mountain regions under the following headings: adaptations to mountains, challenges faced by people in mountains, Sherpas, mountain people of the Himalaya, mountain people of the Kanchenjunga, mountain people of the Nanda Devi. First one is the adaptation to mountains. It has been estimated that 12% of the world's 6.8 billion people live in mountain areas. That means there is about 3/4 of a billion people living in the mountain areas. The Alps are the most densely populated mountain area in the world. 13 million people live in the Alps. Nearly half of these people live in mountains in the Asia or Pacific region. People as well as other animals and plants have adopted to living in the mountains. The South American Uru tribe have larger hearts and lungs to breathe the thin air at high altitudes. Mountains can make travel difficult. Mountains can be very difficult to cross. They are often rugged and filled with forest and wild animals such as bears and wolves. They may have no natural passes or easy places to cross the mountains. Mountains can also be hard to climb or may have ice or snow or glaciers that make travel dangerous. All this means that crossing over mountains to trade goods can be tough to do. Sometimes people who live surrounded by mountains feel very isolated from the world around them. It is just too difficult to cross over other lands. High altitude adaptation in humans is an increase of evolutionary modification in human populations, specifically the Tibetans and certain Andean and Ethiopian highlanders who have acquired a unique ability to survive at extremely high altitudes. The phrase is used to signify irreversible long-term physiological responses to high altitude environments associated with heritable behavior and genetic changes. While the rest of human population would suffer serious health consequences, these native inhabitants thrive well in highest parts of the world. such as Himalayas, Andes and Ethiopia. These people have undergone extensive physiological and genetic changes, particularly in the regulatory system and respiration and circulation when compared to the general lowland population. This special adaptation is now recognized as one of the finest examples of natural selection in the action. In fact, the adaptation account of the Tibetans has become the fastest case of human evolution in the scientific record, as it is estimated to occur in less than 3000 years. Next is the challenges faced by people in mountains. Mountain climates change the higher up you go. Lower down, they support a lot of vegetation and trees. At the top, there are only ground plants. Some mountains reach higher than the clouds. At this altitude, the extreme cold and high winds cause blizzards. In some mountainous areas, the rivers are permanently frozen. These are called glaciers. Stresses for people in mountains. There are two major kinds of environmental stresses at the high altitude. First, there are alternating daily extremes of climate that often range from hot sun-burning days to freezing nights. In addition, winds are often strong and humidity is low, resulting in rapid dehydration. Second, the air pressure is low. This is usually the most significant limiting factor in high mountain regions. Air pressure decreases as altitude increases, drawing of the Earth's surface and the atmosphere above it, showing that with increased distance from the Earth, the gas molecules in the atmosphere are farther apart and the air pressure is lower. The percentage of oxygen in the air at 2 miles is essentially the same as the sea level. However, the air pressure is 30% lower at the higher altitude due to the fact that the atmosphere is less dense, that is, the air molecules are farther apart. At high altitudes, the lower air pressure makes it more difficult for oxygen to enter our vascular system. The result is hypoxia. Health issues for people on mountains. Hypoxia usually begins with the inability to do normal physical activities such as climbing a short flight of stairs without fatigue. Other early symptoms of high altitude sickness include a lack of appetite, vomiting, headache, distorted vision, fatigue and difficulty with memorizing and thinking clearly. In serious cases, pneumonia-like symptoms due to hemorrhaging in the lungs and abnormal accumulation of fluid around the brain will develop. Pulmonary and cerebral edema usually results in death within a few days if there is not a return to normal air pressure levels. There is also an increased risk of heart failure due to the added stress placed on the lungs, hearts and arteries at high altitudes. When we travel to high mountain areas, our body initially develops inefficient physiological responses. There is an increase in breathing and heart rate to as much as double even while resting. Pulse rate and blood pressure go up sharply as our heart pumps harder to get more oxygen to the cells. These are stressful changes, especially for people with weak hearts. Next is the Sherpas, the mountain people of the Himalaya. History. The Sherpa were nomadic people who first settled in the Solukhumba district, Nepal, then gradually moved westward along the salt trade routes. According to Sherpa oral history, four groups migrated out of the Solukhumbu at different times, giving rise to four main Sherpa clans: Miniyakpa, Timmi, Sartava and Chava. These four groups have since split into more than 20 different clans that exist today. About 1840, Sherpa ancestors migrated from Kham. Mahayana Buddhism religious conflict may have contributed to the migration in the 15th and 16th centuries. Sherpa migrants travelled through Sang before crossing the Himalaya. By the 1800, Khumbu Sherpa people maintained autonomy with the newly formed Nepali state. In the 1960s, among growing tensions between China and Nepal government, influences on the Sherpa people grew. In 1976, Khumbu became a national park and tourism became a major economic force. Sherpas are people who live in the northeastern part of the Nepal in the valleys of the Himalayan mountains. There are about 40,000 Sherpas, many of which live near Mount Everest, the world's highest mountain. Sherpas probably came to Nepal from Tibet in the early part of the 16th century. They still have many customs and traditions of the Tibetan people, and they also dress in the Tibetan clothes. Origin: most Sherpas are Tibetan Buddhists. They have no written language and worship the mountains around them, which they view as a home of gods. Mount Everest, for example, is called Chomolungma, which means the mother of gods. At first, the world did not know very much about the Sherpas. They lived alone in their villages, traded goods and grew corn and potatoes. When the British started mountain climbing expeditions in the 20th century, they used Sherpas as guides. With the help of yaks, Sherpas helped mountaineers bring their heavy loads into great heights. Over the years, Sherpas have been admired for their physical strengths. They need less oxygen to breathe and can work better at high altitudes and in thin air. Even today, Sherpas rely on walking to move around. There are no cars or other vehicles. In 1953, a Sherpa named Tenzing Norgay and Edmund Hillary, a mountaineer from New Zealand, became the first people to get to the top of Mount Everest, the world's highest mountain. Helping tourists get to the top of high mountains has become a great source of income. While mountain climbers pay a huge for an expedition, Sherpas earn more on a trip. Some of them have even started their own business. Even though Sherpas know the region better than anyone, they risk their life on expeditions. About a third of people who have died trying to conquer Mount Everest have been Sherpas. In the last few decades, many international organizations have helped Sherpas improve their life. A foundation set up by Sir Edmund Hillary has brought healthcare and modern medicine to remote villages. Water power plants and hospitals have also been set up. The tourist industry has made life easier for most Sherpas. Many have adopted to a more Western way of life, even though some of them still live as their ancestors did many centuries ago. Next is the mountain people of Kanchenjunga. The Kanchenjunga region is sparsely populated. An estimated 500 live in the Gunsu Valley. The main ethnic groups are Limbu, Bhutia, Sherpa and Tibetan. Of these, the Sherpa communities generally live in the highest areas beyond which there is no possibility of permanent human settlement. The village of Phole is Tibetan and markedly different from the nearby Gunsa. In Phole, the villagers speak Tibetan, wear traditional Tibetan clothing and are in most ways more connected to the Tibetan government in exile in Dharmasala than to their Nepali host in Kathmandu. For those who have seen the terrible degradation of Tibetan culture in Chinese controlled Tibet, Phole seems in comparison better preserved, more Tibetan and less affected by both Chinese and Western influences. Phole has an active Buddhist monastery and 2 gompas. Economy. Life in the Kanchenjunga region is one of the subsistence agriculture, pastoral farming and trade. Rice, wheat, maize, millet, mustards and vegetables are grown on narrow terraces. Cattle, water buffalo, sheep and goats are grazed on high altitude alpine meadows during the summer and brought to lower levels for the winter. Local forest provides wood for fuel and construction. Middle altitude grains are traded for high altitude resources such as Tibetan salt and wool. There are no roads beyond Taplejung, from where a loaded porter takes 3 long days to reach Gunsa. Houses are built of rock and timber. Many have earth floors. Plastic piping brings water from nearby streams to village watering points. Education and medical facilities are improving now. Next is the mountain people of Nanda Devi. The Uttarakhand today brims with a lively drone of life with people from various communities and religions contributing to make it into a wonderful profusion of the festival called life. The original natives of the land of Uttarakhand belong to different tribes having the distant and plentiful culture. Major tribes of Uttaranchal includes Bhotias, Ranks, Tharas, Baksas, Rajis, apart from indigenous groups like Mahigir and Vangujars. The Tharas were once the largest scheduled tribes in the previous state of UP and are now concentrated in the Khatima and Sitraganj tehsils of Udham Singh Nagar district. They claim their ancestry from Kirata. Some researchers regard them as descendants of the Rajputs, while some others trace their origin from Mongols of Central Asia. Their language is heavily influenced by Hindi and Nepali. The joint family system is very inherent here. The Biredari Panchayat is the political organization of the Tharas. The Tharas also believe in 36 deities as well as in witchcraft, sorcery, sacrifices. They offer sacrifices to all their deities except Jagannathi Devta, which offered milk only. They are an agricultural community who are also fishing experts. Women do not eat the fish touched by men. The Baksas are from Mongoloid stock and claim Rajput origin. Closely resembling in their habits and customs to Tharas, they are said to be the original inhabitants of the Teria belt and live in Udham Singh Nagar, Dehradun and Pauri Gharwali. They are the followers of Lord Rama and Krishna and worship Hindu deities. The term Junsar represents a number of tribal groups, namely the Khasas, artisan classes of Koltas and Begis who inhabits the Junsar area of the Dehradun district. Rajis, Mahigirs are other socio-tribal groups whose distinct lifestyles add more colors to the vibrant tribal life of Uttarakhand. By all this information, we can conclude the session. Hill people are the general terms for people who live in the hills and mountains. There are hill people around the world, many of whom live in stone houses and herd goats, sheep or have small farms. Musical instruments of the hill people such as various forms of bagpipe and horn are notable for their ability to be heard at great distances. The hill people are often divided into tribes that have a tradition of feuding among each other while resisting control by any other central government. Often the hill people are monarchies in their countries and are divided by political borders. Thank you.